Welcome and welcome back to the Marni On The Move podcast. I'm your host, Marni Salup. Today, I am syncing up with Bryan Poerner, CEO of Diadora North America. Let's get into it. So, Bryan, it's so awesome to connect with you. I'm so excited to dial into Diadora and this amazing brand and super cool design of shoes and running shoes. And thanks for being here.
Oh, thank you so much for having me.
Awesome. I mean, I actually, have known, and I'm sure many of my listeners have heard Diadora their entire lives. Recently, I discovered when I was at the running event in 2024, I dropped by the Diadora booth and saw all these amazing, beautifully designed performance running shoes. I learned that Diadora is like no stranger to the running world, and you guys have been doing this forever. Take me back, I guess, to the origin of this Italian heritage brand, and how did it start, and how has it evolved over the decades?
So it's an amazing story. So it was born in northern Italy in this village called Carano di San Marco in 1948. Small town, but in this amazing region where there are so many experts on manufacturing of boots, footwear, all this sort of stuff. It became the hub for European sport when all the brands started taking off in the 70s and 80s. It was started as a hiking company because we're right on the edge of the Dolomites, but then it quickly evolved into a premium sport company. We were always involved with a bunch of sports, running being in the mix. Tennis and soccer were really big for Diadora globally. Running was big in Europe. It was never really introduced here. But you went on this cycle of a quest of developing the best footwear in the world. And what I've been tasked to do is introduce it to the North American market.
And so for 2025, Diadora has some standout shoes dropping, right? From the Gara Carbon 2, the Nucleo 2, the Atomo Star. Can you break down the lineup for us, like the Daily Trainer, the Race Day shoe, Max Cushion? Like what type of runner would benefit from these shoes, and what kind of ride can they expect for my listeners that are kind of just discovering Diadora again?
Yeah, so we have a bunch of different footwear, and I could put it like this: everything has a reason to be. There's two shoes called the Nucleo and Cellula. That's almost like a pack, because they're both 5 millimeter drop daily trainers. One's a little softer, almost like a recovery. That's the Nucleo, and then the Cellula gives you it's a little firmer, so it gives you a little more like pop in your step. We have a shoe called Vigore, which is somebody who needs a little more stability. It uses actual Blue Shield technology. We have the Gara 2, which is I'll argue, the best marathon racing shoes in the market. We have the Frequenza, which is set up as a straight tempo shoe, workout shoe. We have a bunch of spikes coming, so performance items.
And the Gara is a carbon shoe.
Yeah, the Gara is a really fun story because we spent almost 2 years on that shoe, making sure it was best in class. We tweaked angles of the carbon, we tweaked parts of the shoe, we tweaked the material. And it was a really fun project. Look, the way anybody manufactures a shoe, you have timelines and public companies have to stay on these timelines. We're a private family company. So the leeway we have to perfect product, most of the companies don't have that because you're just staying on this thing. We take our time. It's a totally different approach to the industry.
It's very Italian.
It's Italian, but it's any sort of dreamer, any sort of craftsman, any sort of creative, the Italian thing is different because the thing that's most Italian about Diadora is not the American mindset is like number one, like be number one. And what does that mean in our world? It's like bigger than X company or Y company. But if you think about what that means, it's like trying to spread yourself out, trying to do so many things. Dude, we want to get kids in the Olympics, This is a different pursuit. So if I want, your marathon time to drop 2 minutes legitimately, or a minute and a half because of our footwear, that might take longer, right? It might take a little more time to do that. So we spend all of our time thinking about that, thinking about the athlete, thinking about the product that will help them. And that's our mission.
And so how does your sort of like legacy, is that how your legacy that's like how the legacy of the brand influences the design moving forward, would you say?
Well, the okay, so legacy, our motto has always been at service to athletes. So we don't think about a muse, we don't think about a target market, we don't think about a demo. We think about how do we get this woman into the 5K in the Olympics? Or I'm making it up, right?
Yeah, yeah.
How do we do that? So when you start there, the whole process is different. And then the way we build shoes is different too, because um, we have the capabilities to do everything in our headquarters in Cairano di San Marco. So if you and I are come up with an idea for a shoe, we could dream it, sketch it, prototype it, test it, and manufacture it all in the same building. Now, for running, we so we do the full process, the industrialization process, and then manufacture the Atmos Star, which is a made in Italy high max cushion shoe in house. Every other shoe, all the industrialization is done there, and then we have to outsource it just because of capacity.
Right. And so, like, for example, with the Garrett Carbon, you have this Anima PBX, right? So talk to me a little bit about some of the functionality, some of the design elements, whether it's the foam or the upper or, you know, different technologies that you're using in the Diadora shoes that set you apart from other brands, because it's all super unique to your brand, like the language and the names of everything.
No, so I think there's two things. Um, I think something like the anima, which means soul, which is double entendre, of course, in the shoe. It's a supercritical foam, which a lot of brands are using. There's a really
Mm-hmm.
nice outsole rubber. We use Metrics, which is this really nice carbon threaded upper that locks your foot in place, that allows the plate to work. Look, these things, what makes a shoe really great, yes, it's the components, yes, it's the supercritical foam and all these things, but it's the patience. Like I'm telling you, that's when we say we want to be the best manufacturer of performance footwear, it's the patience which is the secret sauce. It because
Yeah.
it gives you an opening to spend time and really perfect the craft. This is the secret to it all.
Yeah. And I mean, it's so beautifully designed. I mean, I really like even the upper, like it's just so like this mesh sort of feeling here and the laces. Like I don't know. It's a really beautiful shoe, I have to say. And the other one too, like the Nucleo 2 that I have is also, I mean, I know there are different colorways and different styles, but I guess, you know, someone knew that these would be the ones that I really liked. But
No, I mean, I look, it's whenever, and we have an amazing team at Diadora who works on all this product. Whenever you develop product, there's a couple ways to do it. Again, you could, hey, we want to sell to somebody, we want to create, you want to demo, and you get, um, I don't know, you get a color agency to say, hey, these colors are, because it's what everybody does.
yeah, yeah.
But our approach is total counterintuitive to that. But we just design. And there'll be people who love it and people maybe who
Hmm.
don't get it, and that's fine. But I think the people who love it will really, really love it.
Talk to me a little bit about the Nucleo. This is a daily trainer.
Yep.
Okay.
So the Nucleo 2 is our number one selling SKU. It's definitely a really nice feeling, covery. It feels great when you want to go run pace with your friends. It's the best experience. Fits a decent amount of feet, rolls really nice. We spent a lot of time. We actually delayed that shoe just because we wanted to nail every part of it, making sure every part was solid.
Which ones are in your quiver? I know you're going to say all of them, but
No,
like
it's fine.
what's
I
you,
mean,
yeah.
I go back and forth between the Nucleo 2 and the Cellula, which is a
Okay.
little firmer. I probably run in the Cellula the most. If I have to try to keep up with my sons, I'll put the Atmos Star, which is our max cushion, but it's DD Anima N2, so it's a little bouncier. And then if
Okay.
I'm doing workouts when I'm, you know, in that shape, I'm wearing the Gara. So I have four that are let's say in my bag.
And so this is for like, I guess so there's like this huge surge in high performance running shoes. So is this why like now there was a strategic shift for Diadora to move more into this performance shoe focus and be here in the US?
No, I mean, no. So we've always made running shoes, right? So the brand has always sponsored Olympians, has always made high performance goods. Um, we were using really amazing technologies in the 70s, 80s, and 90s and 2000s. I mean, I go back and look at some of the archive from the 90s and 2000s. There's crazy ideas that we were putting into shoes. Really inspiring to go back and look at double action or some of these technologies we were using. So I was at a different brand for a long time. I came to Diadora and really noticed that the brand was all runners now. So while we had this heritage of a lot of sport, a lot of lifestyle, because even on the 95 corridor it was a huge lifestyle brand. Um, the director of sport is Jelena Bordin. He won the 1988 Olympics. He won 1990 Boston. His whole department is all like, hey, this guy Salvatore got number two at New York one year. Diana, she won Tour de France, and she's a silver medalist in cycling. So the team was all these endurance athletes now. Our CEO, our global CEO Claudio, our owner Enrico. I mean, they're going running at lunch. So like this was just in the air when I went
Yeah.
and started talking about relaunching the US. So and my background and my passion is technical running. It's the amazing market. There's an amazing thirst for something different in the States. So that's how this focus really got sharpened.
Diodora was one of the first Italian brands to really get behind ambassadors, to have Olympians, to get into the whole realm of like partnering with athletes. Are you going to start sponsoring Olympians or pro athletes? Like, do you have a plan for that?
Yeah. So look,
More mainstream,
no, no,
right?
no. You're
That
totally
people,
right.
yeah,
So back into the 60s and 70s, I was creating soccer boots and tennis shoes. It was all centered around athletes. That's how we develop shoes. We have this thing called the CRD, which is our research center that's been there since the 50s, where we bring athletes into and build a product around them. So we still do the same. So now, as we get into performance spikes and these things, we are, let's say, in North America, restarting this thing where we have an announcement around pen relays about, let's say, the first person we're putting into this program.
hmm
Super excited is a Yeah, I'm super excited about
you
that.
haven't announced it yet, or
No,
you
we
did
haven't
announce?
announced it yet. No.
Okay. So you're thinking about you have identified but have not announced an athlete that you are going to be working with.
Yeah. We
Can you even
and
say that?
yeah, and this is we of course we have globally a roster of athletes, but
Yeah,
really getting to a higher level. What we're trying to do now is find the Olympians for 28 and 32 and help them get there. Does
right.
that start even on the high school level, the college level? Um, that's where we're operating.
That's that's such a fun place to be. Like to be at that you know, like precipice of like who the next great athletes are and being able to help them get to that place.
Yeah, but it helps us. It helps
Yeah.
us make our footwear better. It helps us focus on the athlete. This is the goal of the company, so it's intentional, but it's also the motto. I mean, I have a flag in my office that says this, that service to athletes. So I look at it every day.
And so that's kind of like your direction from a marketing standpoint, like because we're talking about like getting visibility on a finish line at a major event. So you're kind of coming at it from like working with emerging athletes and also just kind of like helping them, but also helping you with the
Yeah.
brand,
When you,
with the
when you,
shoes.
so when you say finish line at a major event or these things, we're trying to build the best product in the world. However that shows up at a finish line, whoever adopts this motto, I mean that's up for I don't know, the general consumer or athlete to decide. Um, but I will say, yes, we are looking for the next generation of runners, and I want to see a bunch of Diadoras in the Olympics in 32. It takes a
And
while, you
now,
know?
yeah, it takes a while to build. And so, what's your vision for Diodora's place in the world of running over the next 5 to 10 years? I feel like
Well,
you just answered that,
yes.
but
I
yeah.
mean, look, it's not just my vision. We're a family company. So Enrico Pologato is our the owner of the company. I work with our global CEO, which is Claudio Bora, and we talk about this stuff all the time. And we want to spend all of our time. I'm sorry if I'm like saying the same things, but we want to spend all of our time perfecting product, right? We want to spend all of our time delivering the best training shoes, the best racing shoes, the best performance shoes in the market. So, the way all brands think about it now is like, hey, let's be the biggest, which means you have to go and develop programs for shoes that are maybe subpar to athletes, because you have to hit a price point, you have to do. We're uninterested in this. Like we are
Right.
interested in building the best product possible and delivering athletes the best goods they could have. So the mission is a little bit different.
Right. Right. And and you've got like a unique sort of like a UVP and a different position in the market because there's so many huge brands out there with big marketing budgets and spending a lot of money on kind of like what the opposite of what you're doing is, which is so cool, which I think makes me like Diodora even more.
No, again, it's um I don't know. Like when I think about, and I've listened to marketing presentations on muses or target markets, it always felt kind of strange to me. Like you're like you start with selling something to somebody, and when I use this example all the time, when I think about art and I think about music in particular, painting, nobody paint Warhol never painted for a consumer, or
Right.
created for a
Right.
consumer. Or I use Sonic Youth all the time because they were super innovative. They would change a lot. You go see them live, they might just play a set of all noise songs, but it was super
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah.
And
They made fun of Madonna. They like did a whole song making
I
fun of
know. I
Madonna.
mean, I don't know, but
No, I
I,
like
I
Sonic Youth. I'm
I'm
kidding.
I'm saying that
Yeah.
we're creating. This is
Yeah.
this is what the company is. So when I think about Claudio Enrico, and when I think about the discussions that we have, it's about this vision, and it's sticking true to that because there are temptations. Like you get calls from bigger, let's say mass market accounts that want to grow with you or want to use your brand, and conceptually it could be easy to take easy money, but
Hmm.
honestly, it is uninteresting to us. Like we want to build the best product, and if you get distracted by that, you're not staring at making the Gara a better marathon shoe, and that's the difference. That's the 100% the difference to making the best product in the world and making one of the best products in the world.
And then on like the opposite spectrum of that, are you getting the shoes out there in front of run clubs or doing any kind of marketing that way or like just a grassroots like street campaign, guerrilla marketing, just kind of
But I
getting
mean,
out there
so like
doing yeah.
you're talking about general marketing for the
Yeah, like or yeah.
Okay, so generally for the US, we are building we are building the brand a pair at a time through
Okay.
through running specialty stores. So, there's a lot of running specialty stores. They are responsible for every single brand. I don't care
Hmm.
what any brand says. The stores are responsible for building brands. They just are because
Yeah.
um, the legitimacy the legitimacy of any brand is built a pair at a time over 6 to 10 years, right? Like a pair at a time, the storytelling. So what we're doing is giving them the best product possible to sell. And this is so trade and supporting our retail partners is the biggest thing. And then we do things we think are interesting. It could
Yeah.
be it could be sponsoring a like you said, a group run around a really good community in Greenville, South Carolina. It could be sponsoring we save a little bit to help some bands go on tour that are creating, you know.
Yeah.
So it's a combination of all these things, but probably trade focus is the biggest focus.
And I mean, you've been at Diadora since 2017, and actually specialty retail, since we're talking about that, was one of the things that you really brought to the table when you came to Diadora. You helped them open over 200 plus doors in specialty
Well, I
retail.
didn't. I mean, we have a amazing team here that
Okay.
opens all
Your
the
whole
doors.
team. Yeah.
But the focus on this maybe got really sharp, and the conviction got really sharp when like I said, Enrico, Claudio, and I like put this plan together, and we tested in the beginning with a couple doors, and then we've just gotten harder and harder in our stance since then.
And you had been at another brand,
Yep.
Puma,
Yep.
before for over a decade. So like being in the running industry wasn't really new to you as on the marketing business side. And obviously you ran track in high school and you're a runner. So what attracted you to Diadora? Like how did you come to discover them and why did you want to go there
No, I mean,
to
look,
lead the way?
I was at
Yeah.
Puma for 15 or 16 years, and it taught me everything. I have a lot of great friends. I still talk to colleagues from there, you know, every couple weeks. Um, Probably there's a guy who I talk to once a week who I still consider a mentor. I met him at Puma. He's retired now. God bless. um, uh, so I learned everything there. Owe everything to all the experience I had there. I managed run specialty. I managed NCAA. So when we would sign Adam State or Columbia, I was helping manage that. I worked in soccer. We owned Treetorn, which is a lifestyle
Oh my
textile line.
gosh. Yeah.
So I got to manage that. My last job was in the sporting goods realm. So I was managing these big sporting goods accounts. You know, but I just really was so as you go up that corporate ladder,
Right.
you're commoditizing. The pursuit is different. And for me personally, I was uninterested in that. Like I wanted to find a kid running the steeplechase and build a better spike for him. I wanted to find a woman who's going to do a triathlon and build a better transition shoe for her. You know? So yeah, this is why I looked for something different. At the same time, Diadora reached out and they wanted to reapproach North America. It was like super lucky that my interests were looking for something particular, and they were looking for something particular at the same time. So
And now
I tell Enrico every 2 or 3 months, you know, thank you so much because it changed my life. This is a dream position, a dream job, and it's been super rewarding.
that's amazing. And when, like, just quick question about Puma, like when you got there, was it a similar vibe that the way it is now at Diadora? Like it was, or it was always so big?
Um, no, it definitely was larger than Diodora is right now,
Yeah.
and the focus was different. And when I came in, I got sponsored by them, but you know I ran 2:24 in the marathon. Like they were giving me shoes and some travel money. It's a very mediocre time to actually get shoes for. Um, so I came into it as a rep, but I didn't know what I was doing. So like even the exposure to all the parts of the business, I didn't have in the beginning. Maybe it was focused a lot more areas where we're more focused. These are two totally different things.
And then before you were at Puma and before you were at Diadora, you had your own business. You had two businesses, actually, right? You had a record label and were you a producer, tour manager? Yeah, give me the
I know.
backstory back
No,
then when you were 15.
you're being you're making it sound much bigger than it was. I mean, it was I started making producing records, producing. I started making records for
Records.
friends' bands when I was a kid, like 16, 17, where you know these bands that I loved. I was like, hey, let's put out a record, and you press 1,000 records, and my label was called Trackstar, and it was super fun. And then you know you plan the tours. You're in like I was in a couple bands on that I put out records for.
Which instruments do you play?
So
Or are you a singer?
yeah, I sang. I played bass. I played guitar. I played But the bands that on track star, I sang in this band called Hour of the Star. I played bass in this band called S Process. Played bass in this band called, yeah, I mean, all sorts of stuff.
I think those things are important even if you were only 16. That's so cool that like if your kid started a business now, you'd be like, wow, that's cool.
Yeah, but it was, I didn't think about that. That's why I probably my ethos of the way I think about this thing, it was never like I never thought I was trying to make money. And not even, I'm super lucky that whatever job I was waiting tables allowed me to pay enough. Like maybe that doesn't even exist enough. I could still pay rent and do all this stuff, you know?
Right.
Um, maybe, yeah, maybe that doesn't exist. So maybe even the time frame I was in allowed me to do all this stuff. But the pursuit was always about the thing. You know, when we go
Yeah.
on tours because we loved creating. You know, it wasn't about
Right.
even if we played in Cincinnati. I hope everybody loves us. You just want to express.
Play.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a
I feel like
really fun part of my life.
so it's interesting, like full circle for you now at Diadora, kind of having that similar kind of vibe, right, with the brand and just doing what you love. Uh,
Yeah, it's the same. It's exactly the same, which is bizarre, you know. But I think is I don't know. It's probably been a theme of my life. Yeah, and then I had that bag company when I was at Puma because I found myself a little restless because I had a sales position and you're not involved with production, marketing, any of this other stuff. So I just wanted to create something. And we created this
yeah.
bag line also. You could see a theme. It was called Track and Field. The logo was TRKFLD. And we made these waterproof canvas bags that were made out of this material called Sombrella, which is like used for canopies on boats and outdoor furniture. And
Cool.
we did it for a few years, me and my wife T. And then the financial crisis hit, and we were like, you know, kids with no money, just like hustling all this stuff. So we had to stop because we would have had to take a huge risk. But it was fun. I learned a lot. Like her and I were going over to Asia all the time to produce prototypes and working with a factory in North Carolina on fabric and importing, exporting, designing, manufacturing. I learned a ton. It helped me, yeah, definitely helped me grow professionally too.
So, like, for someone who's been kind of creating and doing and building like your entire career over the last like 30 something years, what do you think is the most important thing about finding something that you love, doing what you love, and kind of, for young entrepreneurs out there, or even for executives that, maybe they're not doing what they love, like any kind of like advice onto how to like
I don't know.
kind of dial in? Yeah.
I'm terrible at advice because I don't know what everybody's situation is. I don't know what their motivations are. So it depends where you're from. For me personally, I've been able to, um, dude, people say, oh, it's like 20% luck. Dude, I think it's 80% luck. I think I've been in
Really?
the right
Okay.
place a lot, the right time where I've been able to be set up to follow these things that I want to do, to whether it was music or exploring the bag company with T or even Diadora. This is like a dream. So I don't know if I could just say, oh, just follow your passion and this will happen. I
Yeah.
I wouldn't want anybody to spend their life doing that and not get be in the same right place at the right time. I know this sounds terrible probably, but um, yeah, I don't know how else to phrase it.
No, it doesn't sound terrible. I mean, I think like what I'm hearing is like you just like are doing your thing and it's luck, but it's also like maybe this is like hokey, but like vision boarding without consciously vision boarding. It's like you're like there are so many I guess,
Are you
it's
talking
like
about
you're a
the?
classic entrepreneur. I think that it's like, as somebody who also has a business who's been like an entrepreneur forever, it's like you just have to I'm a huge advocate of like you have to do what makes you happy. If you're not doing that, like what are you doing? And yes, you have to make money and yes, you need to pay the rent, but like I feel like there's a slippery slope between, going it's like it's like beating down the door's not opening. Like you have to find your groove. I don't know.
Yeah,
It's just my
even but even like the ter- a lot of people always say, "Oh, you're a pure entrepreneur." I don't even know what that means. I just love creating. Like I love the thing. I love running, and this is the way I get to express myself through this sport. I love sport. I love competition. And I get to be involved with that in a creative process. So if that's what an entrepreneur is, maybe I don't know, but I'm also like I don't I'm uninterested in becoming number one, right? Like so
Right.
I think we'll be judged someday as the best in class in running, right? Let's just use this as an example. Does that mean we will be bigger than the biggest three shoe brands? No, because I'm uninterested in developing X shoe for the general consumer because it will take my eye off the ball of the actual real mission of what we have. So these are different things. That's why the term
Yeah.
is like strange to me.
What are some lessons that maybe you take from running that you bring to growing Diadora or, just your day to day?
I mean, the things I will say are so generic. It's like because
Give me one.
but I guess they are true. Like, you know, okay, right now I'm 49 years old. I could probably go run, I don't know, 19 minutes in the 5K. If I put in if I put in 3 months where I'm focused, I'm doubling 2 days a week, I'm running 9 miles, I'm working out twice a week, I'm going long on Sundays, I could run 16:30, 16:20, something like I still have. I'm not
It's in
it's in
you.
me and I can. So this is a lesson, right? If you get up every day, our focus, first thing you do is do your reports, you follow your calendar, you do all the look, this is there's no secret to any of this stuff. It's just showing up. And it's showing up and caring. Now I sound like I don't know. You got me to
Oprah.
circle into giving you one of these quotes, but
No, but I think, like, I don't know. I mean, I just think it's always interesting to kind of like draw the parallel for people that are like, I don't, that want to hear it. Sometimes, like, things, like, you intrinsically, like, you know the lessons, the generic things, the generic sayings, but like, when you hear them, it just kind of like reminds you.
yeah,
That's,
totally.
I mean, that's me. Like, when I'm on Instagram and I don't know, the other day I saw someone post like, how to change your energy, like go towards something instead of moving away from it. And I'm like, oh, that's so cool. Like, I know that. Like, it's a good idea, like maybe I should stop thinking about like my stupid sprained ankle and start thinking about the opportunity to lift weights at the gym
Yeah.
because who does that? Not a runner, not me.
But also, once you fall into this trap of running, because it is a trap,
Yeah, it's a trap.
your sprained ankle is going to drive you crazy.
It
My
is.
younger son he has some like hip thing now, but he's growing. He's eighth grade, and he can't and he's like obsessed with running. He can't comprehend like letting his body grow all this stuff, and because he's like obsessed. So like it's easy to say what you're saying and follow the guidance of whatever post you saw, but the
I
reality
know.
is, dude, this is a psycho sport. Like you get obsessed with it,
Yeah, I'm currently like, I'm like definitely losing my mind. And
Yeah,
I did PRP,
yeah.
and I am like only one round. It was the most painful thing I've ever done. Up until today, I was like, I'll never do it again. And now I'm like, I'm going back, and I want them to inject the fuck out of my ankle. But like, that's how I feel this morning.
Yeah.
Because
No,
it's so
I
nice
trust
out,
you.
and I want to go for a run, and I can't run.
Yeah, I know, and
But
that's why again, this is like old man sage stuff, but that's why like
yeah,
when you get older, you should appreciate everyone. Like every 6 miles, 10 miles, you could still get in. You know, don't take it for granted.
yeah,
Because think about those times. Like again, these are so generic things people say, but you would pay anything to have your legs working perfectly or your ankle
yeah.
fixed now, but
I think like, since you have the music background, back to you and off, because I can complain about my ankle for hours. It's mostly what I do all day long.
okay.
So, back to you and Diodora, um, and your music, because that's where we kind of started this conversation. So, since you have this background in music, and I know that you probably are still kind of into music, you don't run with music, right?
Sometimes,
You do.
yeah.
What would be
Are you
like
judging
on
me?
the
I can't tell.
low key?
Okay.
No, I'm not judging you. I actually, I prejudged you in that I was like, he definitely doesn't run with music because he's too cool to run with music. But I actually only run with music.
Oh no,
I love running with music.
I probably there's four things, right? I run
Yeah,
with my kids, my buddy Tom. Like you run with people, that's one.
right,
I
right.
I listen to, I don't know, the daily or some thing to catch me up on what's going on, or if I'm doing an early morning run, I listen to music when I want to listen to music, or I zone out like and I need not to pay attention. Those are four different moods. So
Yeah.
I explore all
Oh,
of them.
that's interesting. Cool. And what are you, or like, what's your running like these days
No, I
in terms?
so I was like for the last couple of years I was still getting in decent mileage every week. I was my younger son's in eighth grade now. I was running with him a lot because he doesn't have a full team yet. He goes to high school next year, so I was running with him a lot. And yeah, now I've been real busy the last couple months, but I've told myself I have to get my act back together. So I'm in that phase.
Are you going to do any races? Like, would
No,
you?
I don't. I mean, for fun with my family or
Yeah.
something, but yeah.
Oh, that's cool. Have you done a ton of marathons
No, I
over
haven't
the
done a ton. I
decades?
mean,
Or
I've done Chicago, Grandma's,
ooh,
Pittsburgh.
that's one I want to do. Grandma's.
It was awesome. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, this was '04, '03 or something, but it was
I
super fun.
I want to go to all the like B-side marathons. I like to
Not
call
B
them. Although
side.
Grandma's is
No,
mainstream
that's
now.
A
Yeah,
side.
that's
That's
A-side.
like OG for sure.
Yeah, yeah. I'm looking for them. I can't, but again, I do half marathons and triathlon.
Yeah.
So, and what about so music? Yeah, what's on your playlist? Like, do you have like a running playlist that you're
For just in
for you?
general,
Yeah, for like just if you go out for a run, like
I mean, it always changes. So
yeah.
like, what's on it now? I don't know. Probably last summer I went through a huge Bob Seger kick. I don't know why, because I heard like the Bob Seger Experience, Rambling Gambling Man, and it's like this sick sure from the early '70s, and then I was like obsessed with Bob Seger, and then I'm like listening to Like a Rock, which was like was it a Chevy commercial forever? But if you listen to Like a Rock, it's about a guy getting old and not having the same thing he had when he was young, and I'm like crying listening to Bob Seger. So I'm like was obsessed with Bob Seger last year. This year I've been bouncing around. I've been listening to a lot of like the bands on Flat Spot, which is this record label out in New York. So like Ended and Zulu and Scowls, like super fun. Listen to a lot of Yazoo. We're going to see Alison Moyet from Yaz in
Oh wow.
me and my wife. So I'm prepping for that because I love Yaz. I've never seen Yaz.
Wait,
She's
is
touring.
Allison Moy?
Alison Moyet is touring right now.
Oh my God, I love Yaz,
Yeah, me too. So
and I love all her other stuff too.
yeah, totally. I'm excited for that. I don't know. I don't know what else is on there. Municipal Waste, a metal band. My friend Dave plays in a bunch of stuff. I mean, I could go on for forever.
It's always so interesting to hear what's on people's playlists. I mean, the entire reason that I kind of love running really is because I put on like awesome music and go for a run. That is
What's on
really
your
how it
playlist?
started. Well, so I really like EDM, but then I get into rock. It just depends on my mood. I have so many playlists, like probably like you. Like it just depends on the mood I'm in that day. Like a lot of the time when I need energy, I will go to like an EDM, like a, I don't know. I have like that, like a radio playlist out of London, something, I don't know, off the top of my head because it's been so long since I've been out on a run. Then again, like I'll put like cheesy dance music or like Taylor Swift or Miley Cyrus or I don't know. Sometimes there's like a Bob Dylan song on my playlist. Like I mix it up or like Aerosmith or I don't know. I just kind of it's a mood. And then of course like I'll be out running and I listen to the lyrics, but I don't. So like you said, like you had that Bob Seger song that was talking about getting old. Like I'll have like Supertramp on and it'll talk about that. And I'm like, oh my God. Like, I don't know, a weird song I've had on my playlist for a really long time. And I know that you're going to know like this Morrissey song. Like I was dancing when I was 12. It's such a sad, depressing song, but like, I don't know. I love his voice. So,
Yeah, it
you know,
depends on
or I'll have like
depends on
remakes of Smith songs. I don't, it depends.
yeah, I got it. No, same. That's why I was trying to think what's on my list recently, and I'm just pulling those out of my hat.
Yeah. I mean, I just don't know. Like, you know, sometimes people who, I know people have, it's like a thing. Like, do you run with music? Do you not run with music? But, um, I'm proud to say that I run with music.
Fine. I don't even know when that became a thing. Like it's
Yeah.
you can have different moods, right?
Right. And I think also for me, since I really have spent most of my running doing triathlon events, that like you're not allowed to have music. So I take the opportunity to listen whenever I can. What about for Diadora? Is there like a playlist that you would have for the brand?
Oh my God. Um, right now I mean there were so many really interesting like political hardcore bands in the 80s and 90s like the Wretched or Indigesti or Negazione, so I'd probably in the current state be listening to a lot of that. But then I also love like a lot of the female singers like Cucina Castelli or Rita Pavone or these women that were like super gnarly in the, you know, 60s, 70s. I mean, Castelli, like she has a bunch of amazing songs. Perdono is amazing. She does a cover of Paint It Black, which is like super sick. Um, but yeah, so I can combine a bunch of this stuff. But I'll start with Negazione.
Is it does it exist yet on Spotify or
Those
are you
hardcore
on
bands or the women, all that stuff's
the
on Spotify, I'm
playlist?
sure. Oh, maybe. Yeah, I could. I think we have. I think I have one. That's all Italian stuff that we use when we're hosting events and things like.
That's so cool. That's cool. Well, this is really fun. I mean, I liked catching up with you and talking all things running and running shoes.
Oh,
Thank you
thank you
so
so much.
much,
Thanks.
Bryan.